It's time to go to Neverland. That is the main theme of this movie. Is Peter Pan sends kids to Neverland, little boys to Neverland, and they never come back. Where is Neverland? Where is Peter Pan? Well, we know where Peter Pan is. He's a character throughout this movie, but we don't know where Neverland is. They just disappear, float up in the sky using magic pixie dust. No, actually, he murders them. Murders them a lot, except for two, and we'll get to those two. In Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. This is in the Winnie the Pooh verse. From the people who made Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 1 and Blood and Honey 2. So expect it to be cheap, British, and at times so British you can't understand the words. Because it does that a couple times. So we start out with Peter Pan as a clown. And he picks a kid out of the audience and he gives him a balloon. Then he shows up at the kid's house. And it's like, I am Peter. You want to come with me? And then the mother shows up and like kicks Peter Pan in the head and gets her kid away from him. Because a random clown shows up at your house, you do not want your kid going near that. At least that's what we learned in 2017. For those who remember that. And for those who don't, look up Clowns 2017. You might learn something. Anyways, so Peter Pan kills the mother, takes the kid, and then we go 15 years later. And we see Michael, who wants to ride his bike to school. But his mother's like, you're 13 years old and you've never ridden a bike before. You can't ride your bike to school. And I'm like, is this normal in England? 13-year-olds don't get bikes till they're 13. Here in America, we give a kid a bike at like 2. We're like, here's a 2-year-old. Here's an adult bike. Go learn to ride it. Training wheels? You don't need training wheels. Oh, you fell down? Get back on a bike. So Wendy, her brother, his brother, gives him a ride to school, but he's late. So Wendy goes to her job cutting hair, and Wendy goes to pick him up, but he disappears somewhere on his bike and is abducted by Peter Pan, who wants to send him to Neverland. And then they get a weird phone call when the police are there from Peter Pan saying he's sending him to Neverland. And Wendy blames herself for not keeping an eye on Michael. Because remember, kids, you've got 2 eyes. Remember, people, you've got 2 eyes. You can just yank one out and throw it on a person, and then you can constantly watch them. I think that's how it works. So we go to some scenes of Peter Pan playing with Michael, Marco Polo, and Michael trying to escape, and Peter Pan scaring the shit out of him. And then we meet Tinkerbell, who is a cross-dresser, but she claims she's a fairy, and she's been with Peter for a long time, and she also partakes of the fairy dust in her veins. I think fairy dust would be much easier to snort than it would be to insert in your veins, because dust. You'd have to like melt it to put in your veins. You could just like go to snort it. I mean, that's what you do with cocaine. You go and snort it. At least so I've experienced. But cocaine is expensive, so don't do it during a recession. Unless your buddies buy. So Wendy goes to this other guy whose kid was kidnapped by Peter Pan. And he says his kid was always a little weird, obsessed with fairies. And Peter Pan took him years ago. Now, Wendy then spends the night at her best friend's house, which her kid brother is also Michael's best friend, who Peter Pan threatens to take, so Michael has a friend over. And then Peter Pan shows up and kills them all and takes the best friend, Joey. Wendy, of course, follows because she's still alive in a car and finds Peter Pan. And the chase is on. Peter takes Joey to take him to Neverland. Wendy convinces Tinkerbell to help him get her and Michael out. But Peter is pissed. So Peter beats the crap out of Tinkerbell. Breaks her arms, cuts them off, and stomps her head in. Meanwhile, Michael manages to call the police. Wendy manages to get Joey out, but not before meeting bald hook-handed dude. I suppose this is supposed to be Captain Hook. I don't know. I don't know at this time. I mean, I suppose Peter made him. I don't know. I don't even know how this guy fits into the story. There was no bald hook-handed lost boy. But we realize he's the kid from the beginning, who Peter killed his mom. And the Tinkerbell is the fairy kid that when he went and met his dad. Met his dad. Okay. So then the fight is on. And not only does Peter Pan get fucked up, but Wendy gets nice and fucked up too. But they manage to defeat Peter. And then hook-handed dude takes him because he's somehow still alive after getting bashed in the face with a hammer 20 times. And then the cops show up. And Wendy and Michael go home. It's 1 year later at Michael's birthday party again, and Michael gets some presents. There's no end credit scene or anything in this movie, so there's no need to stick around. There is some good deaths. I forgot the scene where Peter kills an entire bus full of children and sends them to Neverland. Entire bus full of children he sends to Neverland with one knife. He's just throwing it around, and it just comes back to him like Captain America's shield. He just throws it, and then hits him, and then it comes back to him. It's like magic. So there's some good kills in here, because Peter kills a lot of people. And his face is all fucked up. And he's like coughing up blood constantly. It's an entertaining movie. It's on Peacock. I do not recommend watching it on Peacock. I recommend paying for it on Amazon, because Peacock is like watching cable TV now. It has that many commercials. Wait for it to show up on Tubi, wait for it to be free on Amazon, or just rent it on Amazon. Probably fairly cheap to rent on Amazon. So join me next week, where we will talk about Chucky and wrestling. And we will do the movie Halloween Resurrection, which I can hopefully get up on Halloween. See you later.